would like also to invite our friends of East Turkestan, the Uyghurs, who today came with many, many members. Please join us, and I don't speak Tibetan, so you will understand what I will tell you, and I'm very happy that you join our rally. But first of all, on behalf of the Swiss Tibetan Friendship Association, Super Tündel Sokpa, I wanted the 140 Tibetans who has made this long march, peace march from St. Gallen to Geneva. I wanted to thank you, and I appreciate your effort. And I want also to thank to the Tibetan community in Switzerland and Liechtenstein for organizing such a long rally, which is very important to keep our struggle alive. But what we are doing here, it is a must, it's a duty, because you know all what in Tibet happens. So that what we are doing here, it's our duty, and we can't compare what in Tibet our countrymen are suffering. And why we are here? Just behind us is the UN headquarters of the human rights. And as Lobsang said, today they will discuss and the next days about the re-election of China in the Human Rights Council. There are 46 seats. And I heard this morning, most of the European countries has really support Tibet. But it is very difficult because out of these 46, there are many from Africa, many from Asia who are so suppressed by China, they have to vote for China. But anyway, there is a chance, and with your presence, it's an act of support, of demonstrating that we Tibetans are never we are giving up. That is most important. I want to talk about also, we are in Switzerland, and maybe you know about the Swiss-Tibetan the Swiss-China Free Trade Agreement. This means China and Switzerland want to make agreement that they can bring the business closer together. But the Tibetans and many Swiss and many NGOs we criticize because in this agreement there is no single word of human rights. There is no sentence about ecology, environment protection, because I have seen now recently a photo in Tibet. Tibetans wanted in Tibet, it was in East Tibet in Kham or in Namdo, they wanted peaceful demonstrate for their country, land and for the environment. But what the Chinese have done, you could see a picture full of mass Chinese soldier and policy. And even the Tibet have no rights to protect our own country. So even if you are demonstrating for good water, for good environment, you have no freedom in Tibet. And that is why we in Switzerland, many NGOs, we are coming together in the China platform. This is called China because it's a coalition of many NGOs. And together with the Swiss Tibetan Friendship, we try the Swiss government, the Swiss parliament to inform and to influence. Yesterday was a very important meeting. It was Foreign Commission of the Swiss Parliament. They had the meeting. There are 20 members of all parties, and we have many parliaments in that group, about 7, 9, who are in the Tibet parliamentary group. But unfortunately, yesterday I came to know that these 20, not the majority, did vote for a human rights annex. That means we want that in the contract there will a human rights article come in. But unfortunately, we were the minority. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Next December is Parliament session in Switzerland, and then they will discuss this openly in the Parliament. And so it is still a chance, and if Parliament doesn't agree and doesn't reject this agreement, then we are thinking to start a referendum. A referendum means in Switzerland a party or a group can take the initiative to collect signatures. And then it will be important next springtime, if we start that all the Tibetan Switzerland in every village, they organize with the Swiss NGOs and going and starting to collect signatures. We must have around 50,000 in 3 months. And if we have this, then the Swiss people can vote. And we have also very good support, also financial support by Swiss people. We have it, so it is a chance that we never give up. Even we are the small against big China, but I think the most important is that we never give up, and thank you very much for your support.
He has not forgotten how to love. His life story is inspiring and empowering young people like me to raise our voices against the illegal occupation of Tibet. Gusho Pandeng Gyatso got arrested in a time when the Chinese government wanted to liberate the Tibetan people. Yes, it is right. The Tibetan political system was not perfect at all. But still, this fact does never ever justify the illegal invasion and occupation by the Chinese military. The result of this so-called liberation is that thousands upon thousands innocent Tibetans got not only arrested but tortured and forced to re-education through labor. Even our sacred monasteries were not spared from destruction. The holy stages got defiled. Precious gold and silver got stolen or was brought to China. These days, still, natural resources like copper and coal get systematically mined by the Chinese. Who is the profiteer of all these acts? No one else but the Chinese regime. Has this so-called liberation improved the human rights situation for the Tibetans inside Tibet? No. The human rights situation is worse than ever before. More than 120 Tibetans have self-immolated for freedom in Tibet. What encourages us and gives hope to us are actions like this latest incident in Tibet. In Diru, Tibetans were forced to raise the red flag on their roofs. These Tibetans who have grown up under Chinese leadership, what did they do? Yes, they bravely resisted this Chinese order and did not hoist the red flag. This clearly shows that our brothers and sisters in Tibet don't want to live under Chinese rule. Just 2 weeks ago, the Spanish National Court accepted the competence to handle a lawsuit brought by Tibetans. They allege that the former president of China, Hu Jintao, committed genocide in Tibet. Another encouraging example is the UN lobby group. As the Universal Periodic Review of the Chinese human rights situation is taking place right now, this lobby group is inside the UN buildings and is actively lobbying the ambassadors inside the UN buildings. And last but not least, this morning, right here, behind this gate, Tibet activists unfurled a huge banner which urges the UN to stand up for Tibet. All these actions are giving us hope. Hope that Tibet one day will be free. Today, my biggest wish is that the United Nations are not only expressing their concern about the human rights situation in Tibet once more, but after this year's Universal Periodic Review, concrete actions are following by the UN. In the meantime, we mustn't give up and keep up the struggle for an immediate improvement of the human rights situation inside Tibet. Pegyalo! And now, as I'm already standing on the stage, I'd like to thank the organizers of the Peace March from St. Gallen to Geneva and also all the participants who took part in this march. And
Sambala yapına, çok beğe. Sambala yapına.